myself in the stream. There we go. Boom. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, folks, happy Friday. It's good to see that we're all going to make it through. I said I was going to go live every day of the month of June, and I pretty much nailed it for you guys. I really wanted to kind of make the commitment, follow through on the commitment, build a good habit, work on the networking that we've been doing, and really just reach out to folks and invite people in and have conversations. And for the most part, this has been successful at that. There's a few of you that have reached out through comments or through LinkedIn messaging, or even, visited my website at Manana No Mas and hit the contact link, which when you think about it, I mean, that's pretty tremendous that we can do that now, with the internet and LinkedIn and how all of these things kind of work. Now, it should be no surprise to anybody that this was also somewhat of a revenue drive for Manana No Mas. We are open. We are looking for work. We're a full size, full service agency, and we can do it, lots of WordPress, membership, e-commerce, really specialize in learning management systems. I work directly with Lifter LMS. That's my plugin of choice. And man, if you wrote a book and pardon me, if you wrote a book and it could be bumped up by having an online course to go with it, I'm your guy. If you wrote an online course and you'd like to publish a book to support it, I'm your guy. In fact, one of the newest projects that we're working on at Manana No Mas is an organization that helps people publish their first book. I mean, how cool is that, right? Like, so I think about all of the people that I get to work with, all of the, just all of the cool things. Like, gosh, the last project that I just put out was with WP Tonic, and we went live with it this week, and it's going pretty well. So I feel like I can speak on it now, without breaking anybody's trust or secrecy or any of that stuff. That's some of the hardest part about working on cool projects. But these folks have 2,200 people globally that support people through leadership workshops and teen workshops and business workshops and things like that. And they have this international team of trainers that trains up these other coaches, and they do this whole thing. And we built a really cool integrated, automated kind of website for them that's, international and does its thing. So I'm really excited about that. Pardon me. I will tell you, I'm not sick. I'm not dying. It just feels like I am. Today's one of those days where I was like, you know what? I'm caught up on some stuff. I haven't exercised in a long time. I just got the shock back for the mountain bike. Let's go do a climb. Let's go use this new shock. And so I went out, and I've been going to the gym 3 days a week with my son, right? So I've been lifting, and I've been getting bigger. Not in all the right places. I really, really, really like red meat, red wine, cold beer, and it's coming back. So today I left the house. I went out mountain biking. I didn't realize it was 90 degrees outside. I mean, I knew the sun was out. I knew it was warm, but it was 90 degrees. I didn't know that. I looked down at the bike computer, 3 miles into this trip. I'm like, why am I sweating so hard? And why do I feel like I need to stop? And why are my legs on fire? And why does my butt hurt? And I looked down, it's 90 degrees. Oh, heaven to goodness. So I took a rest, drank some water, all that stuff. I did about 4 miles up, 4 miles back, ended up with, just under 8 miles for a ride. So it's a good ride, right? But what I realized was, man, you take a couple of months off from mountain biking, and even if you're going to the gym 3 days a week, it ain't the same. It ain't the same. I got a long way to go before I'm where I was, just a year ago. A year ago, I could see a hill and straight up it. I love to climb, but today was a battle. Today was a battle between the heat and my fatness. It was a battle, and beefing up the chest and the guns, and not having a neck anymore. That didn't help in my quest. So for mountain biking, I should be working on being smaller and lighter, not heavier and heavier. So I see we got a comment popping in. Let's see what we got here. Melanie Perazzo. Oh my goodness. I haven't talked to you in forever, Melanie. How are you? That's awesome. Hey, I come a long way since we ran that Warrior Dash, huh? So Melanie ran a Warrior Dash with me right when I was at Ducati, and I was like, man, I'm getting fat. I got to do something. And Melanie ran the Warrior Dash with me. And, you know, it was funny because I look back on that now. We ran that one. And then when I ran my second one, it was like too easy. I was like, because then I overtrained for it. So when I ran the second Warrior Dash, it was like too easy. So I was like, well, now I got to do Spartan races. So I started doing Spartan races, and I got into the bicycling, and I lost all the weight when I went to the transformation camp down here in Southern California. You know, the difference between having to travel all the time for work or being able to, you know, commute or work from home is totally, totally different. And so that lifestyle change of going from my Northern California experience to my Southern California experience really helped with my health. You couldn't tell today as I was mountain biking. You couldn't tell. But anyway, my message for finishing up the end of this month is I was thinking really hard about all this cross messaging we're seeing, right? So here we're coming up on Independence Weekend. We're coming up on, you know, sure enough, the Declaration of Independence, right? The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, if you've never read these things, you can get a free booklet. You can look it up on the internet. You can do whatever. I really advise you, you know, read that stuff. And then I see these posts and these common threads that are surrounding me, you know, especially in my leadership quest, because here I am trying to promote this message about my book, right? Action Leadership from the Edge, and trying to encourage people to embrace their natural role for leadership and to take hold of things and to push forward. Because if they don't, it creates a gap in leadership. And when there's a gap in leadership, the universe gets pissed and it fills that gap with whatever it can find. And so if you don't fill your natural call to leadership, the universe just backfills it with something that's not natural. And that's how we end up with a bunch of weird stuff going on, right? So that's my layman's way of saying it real quick. Of course, I wrote a whole book about it, but that's my layman's way of saying it real quick. And then I see culturally all of these posts, whether it's TikTok or LinkedIn or YouTube Shorts or whatever, and it's this victim mentality and the scarcity mindset and all of these things, when I really wanted to focus on positivity and abundance and, not saying, oh, I'm a winner. It's not that. It's we have opportunities. I've been saying for a long time now, you know, we need to find the opportunities within the obstacles. And so this is one of those moments where we really have a moment to slow down this weekend, especially those of us that maybe got a 4-day weekend, and kind of just slow down for a moment and really, really think about things like, what would it look like to live in the Ukraine right now? What would it look like to live in Pakistan right now? What would it look like if you lived in Iran or Iraq right now? Right? For that matter, what would it look like if you lived in Ireland or Iceland or something like that? What would it look like to live in some of these African countries where they're under the gun so much because their tax rate on their national debt is so high? I say tax rate, like interest rate, probably the same thing, right? But their interest rate on their debt is so high that they almost have no hope of getting out of poverty. And so when I look at all of that and I look where we're at, I'm like, oh my goodness, right? So much to be thankful for, so much to be, grateful, thankful. One of the things that I'm grateful for is everyone that's been supporting these lives, that's been making the comments, that's been checking in, that's been supporting me, that's been sending in the messages, people that understand that, hey, you know, he's open for work. Let's do this. The other thing, here's a weird one. I just put it up there on the screen. It says new courses available at Mañana No Mas. We got free courses. We got paid courses. But what I did was originally when I put up the Mañana No Mas Academy, it was a subdomain and I just started throwing courses in there, like just started pounding courses in there. And it wasn't really organized and it made sense to me, but it didn't make sense to other people. And that's one of the things about being an entrepreneur on the internet. You have to be open to sample things to go, you know, you always got to ask yourself, how did I screw this up? How did I screw this up? And you have to be honest with yourself and go, I really messed this up. And so with the Mañana No Mas Academy, it wasn't well-founded before. I've changed some things up. I've broken it into categories. I've got stuff for WordPress. I've got stuff for goal setting. I've got stuff for leadership. I've got stuff for personal development. It's all broken out. And we've got a couple of complimentary courses in there. And that's really, you know, I thought I need to put a couple of complimentary courses in because here I am. I'm a professional that builds e-learning websites. So if somebody wants to see like, well, hey, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Someone's used to some $300,000 custom website at a corporate level. they're going to assume, well, I could never put my own courses online because I can't afford $300,000. And that's so far from reality in today's world, because I mean, for fraction of a fraction of that, I can get your course online on a site that you own. You own the traffic, you own the list that you're building. You're not renting space on someone else's learning site. It's yours. And I really enjoy that. So if you go to mañananomas.com, you can sample one of those free courses and you can go, oh, well, hey, this is what this is. This makes sense. As I look at the time, I say, okay, I've been in here about 10 minutes now. And so I always try to be cognizant of this, because I can go on and on. Melanie will tell you I can go on and on. Put your comments in, put your questions in. If you've got something, that we can discuss, I'd love to hear it. Oh, look, it's Adam. Oh, hey, this makes sense. Dude, are you making fun of me because of the Mañana No Mas story I just told and how my original academy didn't make sense? It didn't. And what's so weird about that is think about the standard entrepreneur's journey. People ask me all the time, they go, what makes you think you could be a business consultant that does websites? Like, what makes you think you can do that? And it's like, well, because I failed enough that I finally started to figure out what kind of works. And just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for you, but I understand the process and the systems to identify what is working, what isn't working, and how to move to that next step. And that's kind of why I don't think you can build a good website for a company now without bringing some consulting to the table. So I'm right up front about the business consulting side of it, right? If I'm building a website for your company, we're going to talk. We're going to go deep. You're not just going to hand me a folder with a bunch of pictures and text in it and say, build me something awesome. No, we're going to have to sit and talk and be like, what's the goal? What's the flow? Is this attaching to another project? Is this linked or subdomained into something else? And then once we fully understand the purpose and the goal and the process, then we can make a really killer package for it. And we can do it affordably, which is kind of a really cool deal. I'm really beat. It's been a long week. And not going to lie, 8 miles uphill. I'm lying. 4 miles uphill, 4 miles downhill. But I still did 8 miles. 8 miles on that mountain bike in 90-degree weather when I'm horribly out of shape. That was a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one short. No, I changed my mind. I do want to talk about something. And this is something to think about, especially if you have a 4-day weekend right now. I wasn't going to read it. Ooh, you're going to run another one. Go to Run Adam Run. RunAdam.run. Is it RunAdam.run? That's his website. Adam Silver. So I'm going to put him up here, right? It says Adam Silver training for his next ultra starts tomorrow. He documents his running journeys and has a website that does that. Adam Silver's an amazing guy. There it is, RunAdam.run. Yeah, RunAdam.run. And amazing dude. Me and Adam, we got to know each other through the WordPress community, which to me is a super, super strong community. And we got to know each other through that. And I really appreciate his work. And by his dedication to coming to these lives, I'm assuming he appreciates some of the work that I do. And man, just a really, really solid dude. If you're not connected to Adam, you should hook up with him either through Facebook or LinkedIn and say hello. The thing I wanted to talk about, I wasn't going to read it. You know how, okay, everyone that's watching this probably knows that I put out a book last year called Action Leadership from the Edge. And chances are you didn't sign into actionleadershipteam.com and buy a copy of the ebook. Chances are that never happened because, and I'm okay with that. I'm not mad. It's people say all the time, they go, well, Jesus had to leave Nazareth in order to preach. Like no one was going to listen to him. His own family thought he was bonkers crazy when he left to go on his, missionary tour. So when you think about that and you go, well, how come my friends and family don't support me in my quest or my endeavor or my whatever? That's a normal thing. You might think, it's not, but it is. So I know a guy that wrote a book and it's called Buy Back Your Time. Is it buy back or buying back? Let me see. Because I don't want to screw it up. Come on. Anyway, it's by a guy named Dan Martell. It's called Buy Back Your Time. It's from a guy named Dan Martell. Dan Martell runs a thing called the SaaS Academy. So it's, kind of software oriented, right? So he runs a thing called SaaS Academy, and he helps people that run these companies grow their businesses, and he's really, really good at it. But there goes Adam. What are you doing? Copying things off of Amazon or what? Buy back your time, get unstuck, reclaim your freedom, build your empire. I wasn't going to read it. But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go mountain biking. I'll put the headphones in. I'll listen to it when I'm driving and picking up the kids, whatever. So I put it into Audible and I started listening to it this week. It is a mind shift for me, an absolute mind shift for me. And you know what? I'm not going to give you all the details because just like I wasn't going to buy the book and then I did, you need to go buy the book. Like we need to support each other in those kinds of things, right? So I will tell you, you look at what I've done. I mean, I grew Mañana No Mas originally, 2007, 2008, height of the economic meltdown in this country. I left an industry cold. I walked away from the automotive industry. I started digital marketing, and I grew an agency that was running like 80 Twitter accounts and 50 Facebook fan pages. Remember when they were fan pages back in the day? Like 350 WordPress websites, another 50 or so HTML sites made through Dreamweaver. All this stuff was happening. Got a lot of startups done in Albuquerque, had everything going. And in the midst of all that, Ducati North America became my number one client. And what's really cool about that is that's how I met Melanie, the one that commented at the front of this live. So I've known Melanie since 2013 when I took the job full-time and went to Ducati. So I think about all that, and then I think about getting laid off from Suzuki in 2020. Well, what happened in 2020? I got laid off. COVID comes out. Nobody's hiring. Nobody's working. If they are hiring, they ain't hiring bald 50-year-old white guys. It's just not happening. And I'm not angry, but it's just reality. They weren't hiring for the positions I wanted. Any kind of higher mid-level, mid-level management executive position. I mean, the standing that I had at Suzuki, I wanted to go up the ladder, not down the ladder, right? So I'm looking for jobs that would let me go up the ladder. And I even had software companies interview me. One interviewed me as a project manager, and he said, dude, man, I wish I could make this work, but we already have 5 white guys on our board, and there's no way I can add another middle-aged white dude to our board right now. I just can't do it. I hope you understand. And then he said, please don't sue me, right? And it was like, I'm not angry. Reality's just reality. And I've always operated in this find the opportunities within the obstacles thing, right? Because I've said that for years now for you guys that watch me live. Find your opportunities within the obstacles. And so we took Mañana No Mas out of the drawer. We blew the dust off, and we started working again. Folks, one of the first things Mañana No Mas did was put out the Power Sport Academy. I tried to pivot or jump off, where I was in the power sports field with Suzuki and Ducati. It did not launch the way that I wanted it to. I tacked that up as one of my current failures, but future successes. I honestly believe that product's just ahead of market. I think I released it too early. But anyway, that's one of Mañana No Mas's things. And then Mañana No Mas went full-scale agency, right? We started building e-learning sites for people. We started consulting with companies like Lifter and WP Tonic. I started getting on podcasts. I started spreading the word. I started getting real active on different social platforms. I embraced LinkedIn. In LinkedIn, I went from 2,000 connections to almost 9,000 connections in really the last year and a half, 2 years. All of that is just popping and grooving, which takes me back to Dan Martell's book. You see, I'm looking at how I'm going to grow my agency thinking, do I hire a social media person? Do I hire a regular media person to do video editing? Do I hire someone to do podcasts and still use the Mañana No Mas name so I free up my time for that? Like what do I do? And then you read this book called Buy Back Your Time, and you realize, and I'll give you this much because I'm not giving away the whole book. You're not hiring to fill positions. You're not hiring to grow your company through positions. You are hiring to buy back your own time. And once and trust me, that's not, I didn't give away the book. This book goes into detail of what that means and how that expounds and how it how it can affect you. And as I'm listening to chapter after chapter after chapter, I'm making notes and I'm going, well, this is what I'm doing next. And this is what I'm doing after that. And this is what I'm doing after that. And so I'm sitting here telling you that in the time it took me to go from 2,000 to almost 9,000 connections on LinkedIn, I have a feeling I'm going to be maxed out at my 30,000 connections probably within the next couple of years. And then I'm going to parlay that kind of a list into more opportunities. And that's because I will have bought back my time by doing the things that hold me back from being my creative best self. I hope that makes sense. You see, sometimes I start out slow on these lives. Maybe those are the best days, because that right there, that last 6 or 7 minutes, that was killer stuff. All right. I hope I can inspire you. My goal when I do these, by the way, nobody's paying me to do this, right? If someone hires Mañana No Mas or hires me as a business consultant or has me come in and problem solve with them for a Zoom call or something, hey, that's great. That's awesome. But my real joy, my honest joy, and I'm not making this up, my honest joy is when I can have a conversation with somebody or share a comment, or after this, maybe we connect on LinkedIn Messenger, we do a Zoom call or something, and we share just a little piece of a connection. And I see the lights go on in the back of your head and you're inspired to do something awesome. Like if I can inspire you to do something awesome and you go add value to 5 more people, I'm over the moon. I am over the moon. I get so energized and so jazzed up by that I mean, it's a lot of what keeps me going. There's a lot of the work that building the websites and connecting the integrations and hooking up the payment gateways and yeah, like there is interest in that. I'm not saying that, I don't like it. I mean, I'm interested in it. It's cool, right? And it's fun that you get to take somebody's product and give it life. I mean, that's awesome. But when I can affect change at the personal level and see them go reflect that in other people, oh my goodness, it's all bets are off. Well, folks, hopefully I gave you something to chew on for the long weekend. I promised I'd go live every day for the month of June. I did that. So have yourself a wonderful weekend. I might check in over the weekend. I will be taking a road trip soon to Salt Lake City, and I'll be checking in from the road, hopefully from the camper van. Fingers crossed. I hear it's done. And one last thing, and I won't say it the way I said it the other time, Adam. Silly little goals, folks. Check it out. Go to sillylittlegoals.com. Give Adam some support. It's actually a pretty cool little thing he's doing. That's, you know what? I'm doing this. He's doing that. Look at us. Two of us, peas in a pod, trying to add value to others. Jump in there. Check it out. All right. I'm going to hit you with my thanks for watching branding and see you guys very, very soon.